I'm 81 years old, and 3 weeks ago my doctor told me I have maybe 6 months left. And you know what? I don't care about 90% of the things I spent my life worrying about. My name is Arthur. I'm 81 and I just got news that changes everything. Stage 4 cancer. Spread too far. Treatment would just make my last months miserable without changing the outcome. So I said no to treatment. I'm going to spend whatever time I have left actually living instead of dying slowly in a hospital. And the weird thing is, the moment I got this news, everything became crystal clear. All the things I thought mattered suddenly don't. All the things I ignored suddenly matter more than anything. And I need to tell you what I'm seeing now because I don't want you to wait until you're dying to figure this out. Let me tell you what happened 3 weeks ago. I'd been feeling tired for months, losing weight, having pain in my side. I kept putting off going to the doctor because I was busy, had projects to finish, didn't want to deal with medical appointments, thought it was probably nothing. Finally, my wife Helen made the appointment for me and drove me there herself. Doctor did some tests, called me back in a week later with results. That's when he told me. Cancer. Advanced. Too late for any real treatment. 6 months if I'm lucky, Helen cried. I sat there numb. Doctor started talking about options. Chemotherapy that might buy me a few more weeks. Radiation that might reduce pain. I barely heard him. I was thinking about all the things I'd planned to do, all the time I thought I had, all the some days that were never going to come. We drove home in silence. Helen held my hand. And when we got home, I went and sat in my study and just stared at the wall for hours, thinking about my life, about what I'd done with 81 years, about what actually mattered. And something strange happened. All the things that had been weighing on me suddenly felt ridiculous. All the worries that kept me up at night suddenly seemed pointless. And things I'd been ignoring or putting off suddenly felt like the only things that mattered. Let me tell you what I mean. I'd been stressed about money. We're comfortable but not wealthy. I'd been worried about our retirement accounts, about whether we'd have enough, about the stock market, about inflation, spending hours looking at financial statements and worrying about numbers. And now, I don't care at all. We have enough for Helen to be fine after I'm gone. That's all that matters. All those hours I spent worrying about having more, about whether we were saving enough, about maximizing returns, completely wasted time. I'd been upset about my neighbor. He'd trimmed a tree on the property line, and I thought he cut too far onto our side. We'd been in this Cold War for 2 years, not speaking, me stewing about it, planning what I'd say to him, thinking about getting a surveyor out to prove I was right. 2 days after my diagnosis, I walked over and knocked on his door, told him about the cancer, told him I didn't care about the tree, that I was sorry for being stubborn. He cried and hugged me, said he'd been wanting to apologize but was too proud. We talked for an hour, and I realized I'd wasted 2 years being angry at a good man over something that didn't matter at all. I'd been anxious about my appearance. I'm 81 and I'd been dyeing my hair for years. Didn't want to look old. Was self-conscious about my age spots and wrinkles. Would avoid mirrors. Felt embarrassed in photos. Now I look at myself and I don't care. This is what an 81-year-old man looks like. This body carried me for 81 years. These wrinkles are from smiling and living and being in the sun. This gray hair is proof I made it this far. Why was I ashamed of that? I'd been holding on to resentment toward my brother. We'd had a falling out 15 years ago over our mother's estate. Nothing huge, just disagreements about who got what. We'd barely spoken since. I'd tell myself I was right and he was wrong, that he owed me an apology. I called him the day after my diagnosis, Told him I was dying. Told him I loved him, and I was sorry for letting something so stupid come between us. He drove 6 hours to see me that same day. We sat and talked and cried, and I realized I'd wasted 15 years with my only brother because I was too proud to make the first move. I'd been putting off a trip to see my daughter in Colorado. She'd been asking us to visit for years, but I always had an excuse. Too busy, too expensive, too tiring. We do it next year, next year, next year. Helen and I are going next week. I might not be strong enough to fly in another month, so we're going now. And I realized I'd been putting off seeing my daughter, seeing my grandchildren, because I thought I had unlimited time. Because tomorrow always seemed like a better day than today. I'd been stressed about my work reputation. I retired 5 years ago, but I still worried about what my old colleagues thought of me. Whether they remembered me well. Whether I'd made the impact I wanted. Would check LinkedIn to see what they were doing. Feel jealous or inadequate. Now I realize none of them are thinking about me at all. They're living their own lives, dealing with their own problems. My career is over. It was fine. I did good work. That's it. All those hours worrying about my professional legacy were wasted. I'd been annoyed about politics, would watch the news and get angry, argue with people online, stress about elections and policies and what was wrong with the country. Let it ruin my mood, ruin my day. Now I've stopped watching, not because I don't care about the world, but because getting angry about things I can't control isn't how I want to spend my last months. The world will keep turning with or without my outrage. I'd been putting off telling people I love them, Helen, my kids, my close friends. I felt it, but I didn't say it much. Thought it was understood. Thought saying it too much would make it mean less. Waited for special occasions. Now I say it constantly. Every phone call ends with "I love you." Every visit, every conversation. Because what else matters? Why was I rationing the most important words I could say? I'd been holding back from asking for help. Needed things but didn't want to burden people. Wanted to seem capable and independent. Would struggle alone rather than admit I needed support. Now I ask. I tell people what I need. And you know what? They're happy to help. They want to help. And I realize I was depriving them of the chance to show love by being there for me. I'd been embarrassed about my emotions, would hold back tears, keep things inside, present a strong front. Thought showing feelings was weakness. Now I cry when I feel like crying, laugh when things are funny, tell people when I'm scared or sad or grateful. And it feels like actually being human instead of pretending to be a statue. I'd been taking Helen for granted. She's been next to me for 54 years. And I'd stopped really seeing her. Stopped appreciating everything she does. Stopped being present with her. Was always thinking about something else. Now I look at her and actually see her. Watch her move around the house. Hold her hand. Tell her thank you for things I used to ignore. And I realize I'd been living with the most important person in my life without really being with her. I'd been avoiding difficult conversations. Things that needed to be said but felt uncomfortable. Would put them off. Tell myself later, wait for the right time. Now I'm saying everything. To my kids about how proud I am. To old friends about what they meant to me. To Helen about things I should have said decades ago. Because there is no later. There's only now. I'd been scared of being vulnerable, of admitting I don't have everything figured out, of showing that I'm human and flawed and uncertain. Now I'm telling everyone exactly how I feel. That I'm terrified of dying. That I'm sad about leaving. That I have regrets. And people are meeting me with love and honesty, instead of the judgment I was afraid of. Here's what I've learned in these 3 weeks. When you're dying, and I mean really dying, not someday in the abstract future, but actually dying in the next few months, everything comes into focus. All the things that seem so important reveal themselves as distractions. Money beyond what you need to survive, status, appearance, being right, winning arguments, professional reputation, what strangers think, political outrage, grudges, pride. None of it matters, not even a little bit, and you spend so much of your life on it. What actually matters is so simple it sounds stupid when you say it out loud. The people you love, telling them you love them, being with them, really being with them, not just physically present but actually there. Experiences over things, moments over accomplishments, connection over achievement, honesty over image, now over someday. That's it. That's the whole list. And it's so obvious. But I didn't live like it was true. I lived like the opposite was true. Like money and status and being right mattered more than anything. Like I had infinite time to say what needed to be said and do what needed to be done. I'm 81 and I'm dying, and I'm telling you this because you're not dying yet. You still have time. But you're acting like you have infinite time, like you can put off what matters and focus on what doesn't. Like someday is guaranteed. It's not. I thought I had time, thought I was healthy, thought I'd deal with the important stuff later. And now later is here and it's too late for most of it. Don't do what I did. Don't wait until you're dying to figure out what matters. Don't spend your healthy years on things that won't matter when you're in my position. Don't put off telling people you love them. Don't hold grudges. Don't let pride keep you from apologizing. Don't wait for someday to see the people you love or do the things that matter. Live like you're dying. Not in some dramatic way, just in the simple recognition that your time is limited, that every day you waste on things that don't matter is a day you can't get back, that the people you love won't be around forever, and neither will you. I'm spending my last months with Helen, with my kids and grandkids, saying what needs to be said, making peace, being present, appreciating small things, watching sunrises, holding hands, laughing, crying, being honest, being human. And I'm more at peace now than I've been in years, because I'm finally focused on what actually matters. I just wish I'd figured it out sooner, when I had more time to live according to it. You have that time. Don't waste it like I did. Don't wait until you're dying to start living right. Subscribe if this changed how you see your priorities.